Okay. Uh, I hear or we have heard from Yang Muhammad Dato Sri Panglima Tinggan on the fact that we have been negotiating and we have not resolved all the problems. We had clarified through amendment to the Constitution the status of Sabah, Sarawak, and some other issues regarding the standing of Sabah, Sarawak within the Federation. Okay? What I always say is this: if you keep negotiating, it will not resolve every problem. All right? First, the issue of financial autonomy that Dato Roger Chin mentioned. I've always said that you can call yourself a super state, a nuclear state or whatever. If you have no money, it means nothing. You are still under some form of colonization. Because if you have no money, even if you want to build a road, a bridge, you have to come up with a plan, go to Putrajaya and ask them for money. And they refuse or give you less than what you want. So that has a big impact on how you develop your state and how you're going to increase or go towards a high income economy. All right? So the important thing is look for areas within the law and the Constitution where you can get more money, which they cannot stop you. Okay? The oil and gas issue. We all know the PDA has taken away your rights for 5%. In fact, Sabah, when the parliament passed the federal, the state of what we call the Labuan Act, you have to include a special provision there, a special provision in the Labuan Act, the handing over of Labuan to the federal government as federal territory. That for the purposes, you have a special section. You can go to that act and have a look. They have to enact a special provision to say that for the purposes of the Territorial Development Act, Labuan is deemed to be part of Sabah. Why? Because your oil and gas are centered around Labuan. If you don't have that section, they will treat you like Kelantan and Terengganu and just give you some 1%, not even 5%. All right? What happened one day, they removed that provision in Parliament. You will lose all your rights to oil and gas. For Sarawak, we told them, we will enforce our right under our oil mining ordinance. We told them we would take back our onshore mining. So we are now producing oil and gas onshore in Miri for the first time since Malaysia Day by the first half of next year. And we are going to revive our onshore mining in order to get more revenue. For offshore mining, we told them, look, we must be allowed to farm into your oil-producing fields. So now today, through Petros, Petros has equity in 5 lucrative oil and gas producing sites, and we have 10 involved in 10 exploration PSC, where in future we will get the revenue. So today, Petros is the 3rd biggest oil and gas company in Malaysia with more than 100,000 barrels of oil equivalent per day. We had under the Constitution, well, there was a constitutional order made under Article 95D of the Federal Constitution. And this was in accordance with the recommendation of the IGC that Sabah and Sarawak will have the legislative authority of Sabah, Sarawak will be extended to oil and gas. No, to A, electricity, and 2, distribution of gas. So we had the power over gas distribution. So we appoint the gas aggregator. Because if you have the power over distribution of gas, you have the power to decide who should be the distributor. So now we want Petronas gas to be distributed by us. And we make the money. We make the money. It is quite substantial. We use our law, we amend the land code to take care of carbon capture and storage. We are going to develop the CCS site. We are going to unleash the stranded assets, which are the sour gas, the gas full of CO2 and other contaminants, especially in Western Sarawak. We are going to realize the value of this gas. And we are going to produce this gas. We pay the 5% royalty to federal government. We are telling Petronas that we are going to take the predominant role over the realization of the value of this gas, which are stranded, cannot be used. Now we have the facility, we have the technology to take up the CO2. We are going to produce this gas. So that's why the Premier predicted by the year 2035, or even earlier, the state revenue will be 60 billion. So you got to don't be dragged down by negotiation. Negotiation will continue, but you must look at the ways in which you can get your revenue within the existing framework and what you can do. Now, I want to correct my friend Dato Roger Chin's statement about the Territorial Sea Act, saying that the Territorial Sea Act determined the boundary of the state. I'm sorry, I don't agree with you. Okay, if you look at the 1954 order in council made in Buckingham Palace by Queen Elizabeth, it extended the boundary of the state of Sabah and Sarawak, we both had the same order, to cover the seabed and subsoil in that area forming the continental shelf of the coast of Sarawak, and which, or irrespective or disregarded the character of the high sea above it. All right? The high sea can be territorial waters, can be high seas, whatever, ocean, whatever you may call it. But the continental shelf is part of the state territory. That is why in the land code and also in the Sabah land ordinance, that area is defined as part of state land, totally under the control of the state. So the resources there are the resources of the state. Regardless of what they want to do, or whatever law they pass, it remains the fact that that is state land. So they want to apply the PDA, whatever they want to do. They cannot ignore the fact that they are operating in state territory. And I want to say this, and say this very clearly. The PDA, if you look at Section 2 of the PDA, only vests petroleum, the rights to petroleum in Petronas. The PDA never vests the land in Petronas. So you can control Petronas by exercising your rights over the land. That is why they have no choice but to allow us to farm in and take part in the oil and gas exploration, production, onshore and offshore. They cannot fight you on that. Okay? Petronas has been making a lot of money in Sabah, Sarawak. They say the two towers, the twin towers, one is from Sarawak money and one is from Sabah money. Petronas only own the fountain in front of it. So, if you want financial autonomy, that is the way to go. The other way to go is regarding what Dr. Roger says about development grant. Why don't we follow the British model, the Westminster model of devolution? Every year, Westminster Parliament will provide an allocation for Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. That allocation goes direct to the Scottish Treasury. Tell the federal government to do the same thing. Give a specific allocation, maybe 1 billion or 10 billion ringgit, and deposit that into our consolidated fund. We decide how to spend it, whether on road or what. That is why in Scotland, university education is free. But if you go to England, you pay. So that is how the way to go. Yeah? Over the years, we know a lot about MA63. We have been negotiating. We have been talking about the 20 points. Now is the way forward. And I only hope that forum like this in future will focus on the way forward. Looking backwards and, feeling a bit sad that our British colonial masters put us into Malaysia is not going to clear this matter. Now, autonomy over health and education. I had advocated, and the state government is advocating too, that the executive authority over health and education be transferred to the state under Article 80, Clause 4 of the Federal Constitution. All right? But it must come with the money. Because if you ask for education and health to come back to the state, federal government now short of money. But how are you going to fund it? But the federal constitution provides a mechanism. When this happens, there must be an agreement between the state and the federation over how much money must be handed over to the state for the state to carry out its executive function on behalf of the federal government. And if that amount can be agreed, then under Article 80, Clause 6, it will be referred to a tribunal appointed by the Chief Justice of Malaysia. The money must come with the transfer of executive authority. Okay? Don't ask for it without asking for the money, because the state hasn't got that revenue to sustain these two items. So that is all I want to stress. We in Sarawak will always fight for financial autonomy. The Premier himself is in the forefront of it, and we hope Sabah will look at your laws, your situation, analyze that carefully, and we would like both our states to progress forward, together, and we hope that we will prosper together.
Thank you very much, Dato. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.